Let's talk about some simple and effective ways to efficiently alter complexity in your classroom, no matter what kind of assignments the students are completing. Number 1, tiny time limits. This is one of my favorite ways to alter complexity in the classroom. Limiting the amount of time students have to respond is one way to increase complexity. It causes students to focus on the most important aspects of a content. This strategy can be used in a variety of ways. Think, pair, share, quick jot and discuss, Socratic seminar, and so on. Students can listen to or read content and then be given 30 seconds or a minute to formulate a response. This strategy, coupled with a depth and complexity icon, can be an amazing way to increase complexity by narrowing the focus even more. For example, the teacher might say, using the ethics icon, answer this question. Consider the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Is it ever okay to break into someone's house? You have 1 minute to craft a response. Once the minute is up, they could pair off or share out their opinions and defend them. Number 2, response length. Varying the response length for students can increase complexity. Too often as teachers, we think that longer responses equal more complex responses. While that may be occasionally true, I'd like to pose that short responses can be just as complex. Consider limiting responses to just what would fit on an index card. The expectations of content knowledge and use of an academic vocabulary would be high in order to yield a response worthy of mastery. Students would need to choose very wisely their word choice and content in order to create a masterful response. Again, combining this strategy with an icon would increase complexity. For example, using the language of discipline icon, discuss the relationship of the Latin prefix deci with place value. Your response must fit on an index card. In this scenario, students might write sentences to discuss the relationship of tense throughout a place value chart. But equally as effective, some students would draw a picture of a place value chart using arrows and labels to show the relationships. Both are equally valuable responses. Number 3, limited resources. This is yet another simple and effective way to increase complexity. Teachers would provide students with limited and/or different resources so that responses are varied. In this case, it would create the need for students to share the information learned because they only have one piece of the content. The rest of the pieces would come to them as other students or groups share. This is especially effective when you provide each student or group with a different resource on the same subject. Once again, to be even more effective in increasing complexity, couple this strategy with an icon. For example, after providing each student group with different resources on sharks, Group 1 has resources on shark body types and anatomy. Group 2 has resources on sharks as predators and prey. Group 3 has resources on sharks' habitat and living conditions. And Group 4 has resources on the impact of sharks on the food chain. Then pose the question. Using the details icon, what details are important to understand the attributes of a shark? Each group would have a set of responses that, when combined with all the other groups, gives you comprehensive knowledge about sharks. Please note that these strategies, like all good strategies, must be practiced. Use these strategies when discussing rules at the beginning of the year or reviewing content for practice so that you can seamlessly enter them into future lessons to increase the complexity in your classroom.